Ideas slash definitions of true self. 5 ideas so far. 1. I am what I am. I am what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Popeye the Sailor Man. How do people be themselves? The simple answer is that they do and they are themselves. Who else could they be? 2. Pure youth. When we are very young, before puberty, we display our own unique personalities unabashedly. Therefore, children contain a certain purity and confidence in their own personalities. People start life being themselves, then get sidetracked. Another idea is molded youth. Because our world starts forming little people so early, it's very difficult to know who we really are. 3. Identity formation later. I don't think people really formulate a strong sense of self until the end of their teenage years. Some people formulate a sense of self even later than that. Before that is just a time of experimentation. This brings up the question, what forms identity? Identity in relationships. 4. Margaret Wheatley states somewhere, and I think she is correct, we don't know who we are until we are in a relationship with someone or some idea. 5. True self is possibilities. The question presupposes that there is a true self and that we could know it when we encountered it. I think that this is not the case. What we are is possibilities. The quest to find a true self is a quest to limit our possibilities. In that vein, I'm not sure it's much different than allowing our social groups or society to define who we are. Motivation. We've got 4 motivations so far. Motivation being the motivation to seek awareness and perhaps to make change. 1. Belief that good will come from self-truth. Start with a bit of a riddle. What causes us to be true to ourselves? Not being true to ourselves not working. Not being true to ourselves not working. Or the belief that not being true to ourselves is not working. I think we get to this point once we realize that the value of being true to ourselves is greater than having others perceive us in some other way. Maybe even a more favorable way. Implications of this can be seen with friendships. When you are yourself and not acting to please someone else, you develop friends who are like you, a network of people who are supportive of your ideals. I think the bottom line is the reward, and that is you have friends who are like beings, and that's fun. And the reward for being yourself is feeling good. I have friends I have made in many different walks of life. The ones I made while being myself make me happy. So I think the answer to your question, for me, is to be willing to accept his favor. I don't want everyone to like me. 2. Self-efficacy. I think the answer should be believe in yourself. Too many times in a society that is constantly criticizing each of us, we tend to think that we have to act a certain way. It begins in childhood and continues in adult life. We all want to be accepted and think we have to do certain things to allow that to happen. For some of us, as we get older, we figure out that self-confidence is a magic thing. Become much more of a leader in expressing your own thoughts than repeating what everyone else says in a different way. It doesn't mean you're always right. It just means that you have the kahunas to be yourself. I think of some of the greatest leaders, inventors, politicians, etc., were the people who defied the notion, you can't do that or you can't say that. A similar idea is comfort. Comfort in the sense that you don't necessarily have to know who you are, but when I'm fully comfortable in a space, in a current time, with a person, group of people, etc., this me comes out that just feels right. Comfort in a way that is accepting where you are at the present and being okay. Comfort here, I imagine, comes at a stage of self-efficacy. I'm not there, but I will be, so where I am right now is okay. I think knowing yourself entails this healthy sense of self-efficacy and a belief in something larger than yourself. When you have those two traits at work, then achieving the integrity of being true to yourself seems much more realistic. 3. Something larger than self. Submission 15, a video response, notes that spirituality can be a major source of this larger than self motivating force. And lastly, for now, 4. Crisis. For many, I believe a personal crisis moves them to a place of introspection. All of these motivations help to bring to our attention our desire to be aware. Submission 15 notes this, saying, first we have to be aware of our desire to be aware. Awareness. It seems very important that it is emphasized all through our lives that we are seeking the knowledge of who we are and what is truly important to each of us. This is not a constant, but often the values that it is based on are awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and much reflection on all of these, without agendas, seems to be a good place to start. Deeply examining and reflecting on the values I have adhered to for much of my life. As I become conscious of my actual values, I am finding that they have changed over the years. I want to be a more compassionate, understanding, inclusive person while being true to and grounded in my values, and willing to articulate them with strength, but not aggressively. This last quote bridges the gap between openness and groundedness in beliefs. Ultimately, it seems the goal is groundedness, but hopefully not at the expense of openness. Openness. When I am not responsive to what occurs in my daily life and in bigger experiences when they appear, or when I am in denial about the reasons for my reaction to an occurrence, I am resisting individual growth. Another aspect that allows me to be more true to myself are the opinions and impressions of others. I am trying to learn not only to listen to criticism of my ideas, but enjoy the opportunity to balance my ideas and passions against the understanding of people. This can be any type of person, those I admire, respect, and love, those that disgust, irritate, or infuriate me. Submission 15 mentions that honesty is a huge key to successful reflection and openness. This value is lost if you are anything but perfectly honest with yourself. There are 5 different ideas that I would consider tools of reflection that were mentioned in the submissions. 1. Less is more. The less material goods, the fewer distractions, the clearer the self-image. Again, less is more. The only exception is horsepower. I would follow this up with a quote that my high school used in advertising. The best way to find out who you are is to go to that place where you don't have to be anyone else. Unknown. 2. Understanding how we present ourselves and how we profile. Most people are unwitting profilers of the people we see and meet every day. We make snapshot judgments of those people in a heartbeat. Not too long ago, I was in a pub listening to a band and watching the people milling around. I was amazed how many of the folks made conscious decisions of what to wear, how to comb their hair, how they walked, and I wondered if they ever got tired of waking up in the morning to play another game of dress-up just so the people who do not know them would know what to think of them. Then I asked myself, do I play dress-up? What is pretense and what is not? 3. Other people are mirrors. So many people spend their lives looking for themselves in other people. However, the truth is, other people are merely mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects something you love or hate about yourself. 4. Experience new things. Submission 15 suggests going out and experiencing new things while being mindful and honest of the experiences and reactions. Last, 5. Surround with right people. It is best if one can be surrounded by people who will them to explore rather than people who one must push to chase action. Conclusion. Change. I want to conclude with a quote from a submission on change. While you start with a set of values and beliefs, you must be willing to constantly question them and be open to hearing and discussing the beliefs of others. You must recognize that yourself will change over time as your beliefs evolve, and that your words and actions will change as well. Awareness often leads to change, but in many cases there is still a choice involved. Awareness merely allows for that choice to happen.